Coming up on the Sports Desk, 2 years ago there were North Torrance's Big Three. Now the trio that lit up Saxon scoreboards is looking to pull off the same success in the JUCO ranks. Meanwhile, current Saxon superheroes are making big plays in pairs instead of threes. Is the present-day dynamic duo strong enough to make the Saxons a CIF title contender again? Or does a visit from Inglewood throw a hiccup in that plan? All that plus scores and updates from the week in Torrance sports. The Sports Desk starts now. How's it going, Torrance? I'm Wan Hernandez. Welcome to a new week on the Sports Desk. First up this week, another packed weekend of football. The West Warriors and South Spartans, Torrance's final undefeated squads, Elko in their first conference matchup, but we kick things off today at North High. The Saxons have been led by a stout defense through the first month of the season. Their next assignment, a test in versatility. The Inglewood Sentinels' early campaign was slowed down by offensive woes until they instilled the Torrance Tartars double wing T offense, and it immediately earned them their first win. So the matchup was set for North's final non-league test, a preview of the Tartars' ground and pound offense in the form of Inglewood High. Inglewood taking the trip down to North High, and the Saxons coming off their first loss of the season. This one was a wild one. First quarter, Inglewood up 6-0. Mike Juarez connects with Chris Kawhi on the fly in the end zone. North goes up 7-6. Next North possession, Juarez fumbles. The Sentinels would recover a few plays later. Kendrick Johnson gets the ball. He's going to take it in for the score. Inglewood now up 14-7. Second quarter, this is when things get a little bizarre. One of the stadium lights goes out, so the Saxons switch into their baby blue jerseys instead of those blacks. Late second quarter, tied at 14. Inglewood's Kendrick Johnson gets picked off by Justin Almond, and he's going to go 99 yards to the house. North takes the lead 21-14 going into the half. Now we're going to jump up to the third quarter. Same score. Zubair Muhammad receives the punt. And check this out. Little mashup in the middle of the field. Referee's going to blow the whistle here in a minute. Called for forward progress. And Mike Juarez just going to level him. Muhammad didn't like that. Tempers start to flare. Things got ugly fast. The refs would call this one with just under a minute to go in the third. Let's hear what Todd Croce had to say about all this madness.
Our guys were just kept playing, and one of their kids didn't like it, and he threw the ball at them. And kids that were nearby just were protective of each other, and this was dumb.
The Warriors finish off Torrance's perfect September tour against the Bay League by a 21-point margin. First-year starter Trevor Mallett had his coming-out party, throwing for 280 yards with a touchdown pass and one rushing. Brett Ogie had another big night at West as well, eating up 182 yards and 3 TDs. Meanwhile, South High joins West as Torrance's final two undefeated teams. A year after losing 8 games, the Spartans have not only doubled their win total in 2014, they've also nearly matched their scoring output for the entire season. The 2013 Spartans scored a total of 183 points through a 2-8 campaign. They're 4-0 to start 2014, scoring 182 points and winning convincingly by more than 31 points a game. They mixed things up this week with Gabe Zuniga throwing the ball almost 20 more times than a week ago, amassing 312 yards through the air with 2 TDs. Next up, the Spartans get their first big test, taking on last year's Pioneer League champs El Segundo. Meanwhile, in JUCO football, the El Camino Warriors got their first crack at a conference matchup with CitiCABLE visiting. Their first National Central Conference game would be an uphill battle, kicking off without their starting quarterback and 2 top-producing running backs. To Seahawks Stadium we go. Elko taking the field against CitiCABLE, and this one going to come down to the wire. First quarter, no score. George Hernandez connects with Michael Wimberly, putting the Warriors deep into Citrus territory, and that's going to set up just a few plays later. Dion Williams coming up here with the carry up the gut, and the Warriors go up 7-0 early. Second quarter now, Elko up 14-7. Citrus QB Larry Cutbirth pitches it to Steven Garcia, who runs in for the score. Unsportsmanlike conduct called against Citrus, but the TD is going to stand. We're all tied up at 14. Fourth quarter now, 28-14. Ebon Jackson finds Devontae Jenkins for the score, and the Warriors trailing just by 7. Ensuing onside kick, Eddie Garcia gets the perfect kick, and the ball gets recovered by Azuzula Fifita. The Warriors still have a chance late in this one. Ensuing drive now, fourth down. Warriors fans pumped. Ebon Jackson can't escape the pressure, and the Warriors turn it over on downs. Elko drops a heartbreaker at home, 28-21. They fall to 2-2 overall and 0-1 in league play. Coach Featherstone after the game.
I've got to realize half our team is very young, and we've had some tough injuries over the last two weeks. Some really good players on both sides of the ball, and so we've had to throw the younger guys in there. We'll come back and bounce back next week, I hope, and get some of the guys that couldn't play this week back. If we can get Joey back, that'll help us. And we had 3 of our running backs we didn't have tonight.
Coming up, some more scores, some more of the latest news on how your team fared from the gridiron, the pitch, or the volleyball court up next.
Okay, so we drowned the fire,
Yep.
stirred it, drowned it again, and now just feel if it's cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. Already posted it.
To Maddie, congrats on paying off all those student loans.
Finally, right?
How'd you manage that anyway?
I started tracking my spending, changed a couple of habits.
Wow. I'm kind of living paycheck to paycheck right now. I don't even know how I'm doing it.
Well, have you tried saving a little?
I want to, but where's that money going to come from? Bill collectors, they're the worst. Am I right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
Not home.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Changing the old motor oil and filter helps keep your car running right. Making sure to recycle your used motor oil and filter helps keep the environment running right too. Finish the job. RecycleTorrance.org. If you dump trash and chemicals in the gutter, they don't stay there. Keep the ocean clean by keeping the gutter and storm drains clean. RecycleTorrance.org.
Welcome back to the Sports Desk. Jumping onto the volleyball court for a bit, the North Saxons followed up their home tourney victory with one last non-league win over Chadwick, closing out a red-hot start to 2014. The Saxons enter October a full month away from their last loss, according to MaxPreps.com, when they dropped tourney matchups to Huntington and Canyon in the first week of September. All that pushing North into a top 50 Max Prep ranking in the state of California. They'll serve it up against the Pioneer League in their second month of the 2014 season, looking for more than just rankings with the league title in sight. To do that, they'll have to fight through rival South High, who closed out their September with 2 big non-league victories. South got back on track in a non-league matchup, sweeping St. Lucy's 3-0. Carly Eastley had 15 kills, and Bailey Oliver and Taylor Bryden combined for 22 kills and 4 blocks respectively. The Spartans also took another non-league victory against the Notre Dame Knights. The Spartans would take the first 2 sets, lose the third, but come back and take the fourth for the win. Carly Eastley had 17 kills, and Micah Steffi Bean added 5 kills as well. South improves to 10-6 overall and is heating up just in time for Pioneer League play to begin. Bishop Montgomery football was finally able to get over their offensive woes this season and put up some points against Mary Star of the Sea. Quarterback Austin Garvey went 9 of 17 with 2 touchdowns. Chris Hughes added 2 catches for 65 yards and a touchdown. The Knights scored more points against Mary Star of the Sea than their first 4 games combined. Rock Hollis & Co. had their hands full against an undefeated El Segundo squad. Gundo put up 42 points in the first half alone as the Tartars fell 49-7. The last time Torrance beat the Eagles dates all the way back to the 2011 season when the Tartars won by a touchdown. Elko Soccer currently has a nice big 0 in the loss column this year, but this is soccer. They started off the season with 4 draws in their first 4 games. Elko took their second win in a row against San Bernardino, 2-1. San Bernardino struck first, but Carlos Perez would score 2 goals, and Elko hangs on to win this one. Coming up, back to the football field with 5 Torrance athletes putting North High on the map. The big 3 and the dynamic duo when the Sports Desk comes back.
You could choose to join a gang. You could try the latest drugs. You could even choose to drop out of school. You can try to avoid the difficulties in life with a quick fix, or you can face them head on. She did. Make the right choices today and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Minds can achieve anything. We make sure they get to college. Federal student aid provides more than $150 billion in grants, loans, and work-study funds to make college possible for anyone with the mind to get there. Because if given the chance, minds will do great things. Federal Student Aid, proud sponsor of the American Mind. Learn more about money for college at studentaid.gov.
Welcome back. 2 seasons ago, it was impossible to look at a box score, stat sheet, or even newspaper headline featuring the North Saxons without seeing 3 names. Michael Gerardo, George Hernandez, and Devontae Jenkins were the centerpieces of a high-flying, gunslinging offense that produced 540 points in just 1 season. At the same time, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh made up the highest-profile trio in professional sports. North Torrance's own version of the Big 3 took the South Bay by storm, just 1 win short of a CIF championship. Now, the Big 3 may have disbanded from Miami, but not from Torrance. Colin Kushner has that story.
George Hernandez, Michael Gerardo, and Devontae Jenkins tortured defenses in their years together at North High School. George was a starting quarterback, with both Jenkins and Gerardo as his top receiving targets. The 3 go way back, and have been inseparable since their football days as Saxons.
George was my first quarterback. Mike, I was just pretty much watching him on the other side being a receiver, and I remember my junior year, he was just getting all the balls, and I'm like, man, I can't, this can't be like this. My senior year, I got to get better. And then I worked hard, and we both ended up being huge targets for George our senior year, and we had a pretty good year.
It was fun. It's been fun. Back at North, we teamed up junior year, and then we had a so-so season, 2-8. And then senior year, we just came and we wanted to do some things, go out senior year with a bang.
Going out with a bang they did. The trio had Madden-like stats their senior year at North. Hernandez threw for over 3,000 yards and 50-plus TDs, while Devontae and Mikey each had over 1,000 receiving yards, respectively.
I had Mikey to go deep. He would be my fast guy, so I could just launch the ball out there, and he would go get it. And then with Devontae, he's big, physical, so I just throw the ball up to him, and he'd jump over people and go get it. So it was pretty easy.
After graduating from North, the tight bond between the Big 3 carried over into their college years at Elko. Things have changed. For one, Mikey Gerardo is now on defense, but that still hasn't stopped the Big 3 from hanging out both on and off the field.
We work out together, we do everything together, so it's great to be out here on the field together and just keep the ball moving from high school and just try to go to the next level. Hopefully we all go D1 together and just reminisce when we get older about how we all grew up and stuff.
The Big 3 has climbed their way through the football ranks together, and their former coach isn't surprised by the amount of growth they have had at the next level.
It was great in the summer to hear that Mikey was going to be named a defensive captain and that George was healthy again, and Devontae just kind of getting his feet wet last year, and I think now he's really starting to shine. Just 3 awesome kids in high school that just needed a little bit more time to mature and keep going, and now they're showing what they can do at this level.
This season, we find ourselves in oddly familiar territory. In Week 1, it seemed like nothing more than a much-needed big play to kick off the season. Trailing 7-0 against a stout Redondo defense, Chris Kawhi scrambled 73 yards for the first 6 points of 2014. Then, trailing 10-7 with a minute to go, Mike Juarez returned a punt 97 yards to steal the Saxons' first win of 2014. It was the only thing that could top Kawhi's clutch scamper just minutes earlier. Little did we know the guys wearing number 3 and number 10 were just getting started.
In 2012, North High's offense averaged just under 40 points a game. In 2013, they dropped to a 6-5 record. They're halfway to that win total just 1 month into this season, but aren't doing it with 500 yards of offense. The North Saxons have their swagger back.
They are flip-flopped, right? The 2012 team had a solid defense, of its own, but this year's group, great defense, stopping the run really well, and still trying to find its way on offense.
That's the big part of this team, is that our defense, we stop anybody that tries to run it or throw it. That's the big part on this team.
The Saxon defense is allowing just over 10 points a game in 2014, making up for an offense that's yet to catch its groove. 3 of their 5 games have been decided by a single score, and so far, you only need 2 guesses to figure out who's making that game-deciding play.
Right. It sure looks like that, yeah. Everybody else obviously is doing their job and playing their role, but those two, you're going to find their name in the paper more than anything.
Chris Kawhi and Mike Juarez scored North's only 2 touchdowns in the season-opening win over Redondo, sealed by Chris Kawhi defending the game's final play. The next week, they accounted for all Saxon points on offense and special teams, adding 4 sacks and a fumble recovery between them. And when Kawhi sat out due to injury and North's only true loss of the season, his teammate stepped in behind center in his place, scoring another punt return TD that would have won the game had it not been called back on a penalty. Just like the real Cape Crusader and Boy Wonder, number 3 and number 10 are showing up wherever and whenever needed, which begs the question.
Who's Batman? Who's Robin? I'll be Robin, because he's the senior. I'll give him the starlight over here.
Okay.
He'll be Batman. He's a good leader, and I respect that.
I'll probably say he's Batman. I'm Robin. We came close this year. Last year we were still trying to figure each other out. We're still young. And now this year, I believe that we got closer, and now we're like real brothers.
But Coach Todd Croce doesn't think they need to be so modest.
You know what? They kind of do play both roles in that, Mike is going to be expected to do some more athletic things than Chris is, but Coach Speak is all we got here.
So who needs the 3 Musketeers? Or the 3 Amigos? Or the Big 3? After all, would you rather have 1 Batman or 2?
Before we say farewell for the day, time to pass along how you can get in touch with the Sports Desk anytime. We're always just an email away when you have a great story idea, you want to see us at a game, or you just feel like saying hi. All right, everybody, that is going to wrap up another week on the Sports Desk. We'll see you next week.